This is going to be the, because we got session 0, session 1, session 2, session 3, and we got the 4th session. So this will be the 5th session when it comes to Terraform, which is really, really good. Right. Today we're going to, I think we can put to bed the modules. You all understand what Terraform modules are. We have created a module, a VPC module, and we've used that module to create 1 or 2 VPCs. I'm hoping that you've all practiced it, watching the video, and you know what's going on. It doesn't complete the module, but we will build on it as time goes on. We need to do module outputs and so on and so forth, but we will need other parts of Terraform to be able to do the module outputs. So I'll hold on the modules. Let's say we've done 40% modules now. Okay. We also started functions in the last session, which is session 4, Terraform session 4, which was done yesterday. We did functions, and functions are, I just needed to introduce to you functions, what functions are, because we're not going to learn each function. There are common functions that we will be using as time goes on. The one that we did yesterday in the 4th session was we used toString function. ToString function. ToString function is a function that will convert any value to a string value. Okay, if it's a number, it will make sure it stays a string as a string. So we use that function, and as I said to you the other day, a function is just a tool that takes in parameters or takes in something, processes that, and then gives you an output something. Okay. So in maths we have functions. Okay. The world is all about functions. Okay. Like if you put Foster and his girlfriend into a room, they will bring out a very nice Foster Achina baby. That's a function. Okay. So I'm not going to focus on functions. We'll be using it, okay, as we go along. Let me warn you, today is also a hard stop at 8. Okay. Unfortunately, I've got away footballs for 5 weeks, and I do football trips every weekend. Okay. So for 5 weeks, I'll be doing football, and I will have to leave the house at least 8:10. So I'm going to finish this one also at 8. Right then, let's go ahead and do something very, very, very fun. Okay, very, very, very fun. Today we're going to look at one function that is going to, well, is it a function? No, it's not a function. We're going to loop. We're going to do loops. You've all seen loops in Bash. You've seen loops somewhere. Who here can explain what, in programming and in IT, what a loop is? Anybody? If nobody speaks in the next 10 seconds, I'll volunteer someone.
All right, so loop is a way to repeat a certain action, either over a set number of times or until a certain condition is achieved.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I couldn't have said it better. I told you, Jesse is Jesse, yeah, guys. Achina Foster, Achina Chris, tell me what you understand about loops. In other words,
Okay, so I'll just say loops are just used to reiterate over a given set of or used to reiterate used to iterate through a list until a condition is met. So
okay. Paul, how about you?
I think I can't go far from what Jesse said, but I would say like it's a tool that is used in computing world to repeat action until a predefined condition is met.
Paul, say again, what did you say?
I said it's a tool that is used in computing world, whether in programming, that is used to repeat a certain action until a predefined condition is met.
Yeah. Right, so a loop is that I want to do a certain task, action, okay, at each time. So let's say I can say whenever it rains, I want you to, whenever the sun is out, I want you to cut the lawn in the back. The action is cutting the lawn. Okay, the action is cutting the lawn. But I want you to cut the lawn each time the sun comes out. So this machine will sit there waiting for the sun to come out. And as soon as the sun comes out, it will go and cut the lawn. It finished cutting the lawn, it will come and sit there. And then when the sun comes out, it will cut the lawn again. Okay, so this one is a type of loop that waits for something, and then it goes to do the job. It's going to do the job one, and then stop. And it does it again, and then stop. Or I would say the umbrella should always be on, okay? Should always be up until it stops raining. So the umbrella is up. When it stops raining, the umbrella comes down. When it starts raining again, umbrella goes up. Stops raining, umbrella comes down. Yeah? So you're doing the same thing a lot of times. Yeah? You're doing the same thing a lot of times, but there's a condition. There's a condition where it says, this is how many times I want you to perform this action. This is how many times. If you see this, stop. If you finish, maybe I'll set it and say, do it 10 times. When it finishes at the 10th time, it will not do it again. It's finished. Okay. So that's loops. In Terraform, we loop as well. Okay. We loop as well. Okay. But every programming language has a way of doing its own loops. So let's share my screen and look at the way we do loops in Terraform. And as I said, this is all about introducing you to the ways of doing things. And then from there onwards, it's up to you. So now you know that Terraform, we can loop. I'm going to show you how an example of where we're going to loop. Okay, use loops. And then from there onwards, you build on it. Okay. So let's share our screen. I'm hoping that you're enjoying Terraform. Jesse, are you up to our level? Have you caught up to whatever we've learned so far in Terraform?
I wouldn't say exactly. I need some more hands-on, but go on. Within the week, I will get up to speed.
Let me know where you are at the moment, and then let's see if I can help. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the concepts. The only challenge is I've not done those variables. I've not done it. I need to.
Right.
It takes some practicals on it and see it work out.
Okay. So right. And this is the documentation. Okay. What this one is for each. Okay. By default, a resource block configured one real infrastructure object. So a resource block is configured for one real infrastructure object, like what we've done in the VPC. That's a resource block. Okay. One resource, we're creating one resource, and by default, it will create just one VPC. The subnet block by default will create one subnet. Okay, and that's what it means that a resource block configures one infrastructure object. And simply a module block includes a child module, includes a child module contains into the configuration of one time. However, sometimes you want to manage several similar objects, like a fixed pool of compute instances, without writing the separate block for each one. Terraform has two ways of doing this. One of them is count, and one of them is for each. Right. Let's just expand this a little bit. Okay. And then let's go into our own code, which I'm going to now have to log in again and expand this. We'll do it, and then you see what's happening. Yeah. So this is just one loop, but this is the most important one I want people to work on. We'll focus more on loops as time goes on, but this is what I want to explain. Five. Okay. Okay, so I think I'm using. Oh, let's see. I'll find it from here. I'm using 0283, 0283, 0283, this one. Okay, so let's go to our code. I'm going to tear down all my VPCs. I'm going to tear it all down. Okay, I'm going to tear it all down. We've got too many VPCs. So I'll plan and destroy all of them. So I'm going to my Cloud9, which is my workstation. It can be your laptop, it can be anything, as long as you can do the same things that we're doing. Okay. In this, my Terraform, I'm starting the machine. Okay, so I have these folders here. Okay. One of them is, let's see, if you go into each one, you can actually plan each one. So let me go into this one, which is test VPC. In fact, I'm in Terraform VAS. Which one is the module? Terraform VAS is the module. Okay. So this one, I think I destroyed it yesterday. So let's go to this one, VPC CD VPC /3 CD dot VPC /3. Okay. And if we do Terraform, destroy, it will just go and kill that Terraform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this and call it VPC module. Well, it's VPC VAS for now, but we need to be able to call it VPC module. So this is it. It says it's going to go and destroy how many? 2 to be destroyed, which is a subnet and a VPC. Okay. We didn't even do route table or internet gateway. So this module only does that. So I say yes. Okay. Now, everything we do, we'll do from the module. Okay. So if you want to add one more subnet, we'll do from the module. Now, this is the main.tf. And in the main.tf, we are adding one public subnet. As you can see, public subnet 1. What if I wanted to create another subnet? Does anybody know how we can achieve this? Anybody has any idea? It doesn't matter, as long as it works. How would you go about creating another subnet? From what you know now about Terraform, how would you go about it? Anyhow, by the time we finish, the subnet is there. I don't mind.
We can repeat the code block.
Exactly. So we can copy this. Copy this. And just change here and call it 2. Call this one 2. Oh no, this one will still be 1 because the VPC ID will be the same. The CIDR block will be a new variable, and this one will be called 2. Yeah. So we'll have to then go to variables and create a variable for this. Okay, and put that there. So this will work. Save. And then we go to variables, and then we copy. This is there it is. Yeah. Copy this. And then we put it here. Call this one 2. And then we'll make it default anyway. So we're not going to add 1 to it. So this here should work. That's it. If you want to do an output for the VPC, the CIDR block, you can actually add it here. So we got public subnet 1 ID and ARN. We got public. Yeah. So we can also copy this. And we can just change here to be 2. We can change this one. So AWS will subnet test 1 public subnet 2, and this one will be 2 as well. So we got the ID and the ARN of 2. So this one is, I think this. Well, where is the module? Let's go back to the module. This is where you make mistakes. See, so here we can Bernard test 1 is the VPC, okay, name, but then the VPC public subnet 2. Okay, so if you go to the outputs, Bernard test 1 is always the VPC, so make sure you don't change that. And then the public subnet is going to be 2. So here will be 2. And here will be 2, 2. Yeah, I'm hoping that this works. So then when we go to here, we will then have to add 1 more in the main. Okay, so we got 1 CIDR. We can add another CIDR. Copy, because this will require another one. And that one will be 2. Okay, and this one will make it 4. So we are creating another subnet, and we are using the CIDR block for the subnet mask. And we are also, yeah. So this should create another subnet, another subnet for us. So let's try and Terraform plan it and see. Of course, copy and paste. We can make mistakes, but Terraform will tell us if we've made any mistake. No, seems okay. So here it's now going to create 3 resources. It's going to create VPC. This will be the VPC, and it's going to create subnet 2, and it's going to create subnet 1, public subnet 1. If we wanted to create another public subnet, what do you think we would do? There can be 6 subnets. We want to create another private subnet, and we want to create another public subnet. Again, how do you think we should do it? We'll copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. It's too much. But the for loop for each, this one, can help us to create just one block, and then we do a loop. Okay, we'll just do one block and we'll do a loop. Okay, and then we will tell it how many subnets to create, and then we make sure that each time it wants to create a subnet, it will call it a different name. We'll make sure. Okay, and that's what we are going to do. The for each will help us to use one block, resource block, multiple times. And that's what this is all about. The default is to create one, but the for each and the count can help you to use that same block multiple times. And the basic syntax for each, is a meta argument defined by a Terraform language. It can be used with modules and with every resource type. For each meta argument, accept a map of a set of strings and creates an instance for each item in that map or set. Each instance has a distinct infrastructure object associated with it, and each is separately created, updated, or destroyed when the configuration is applied. So this is how it works. So we have one resource block, okay, and this is the resource. Let's say this resource is what we are using to create VPC. In there, we are going to do for each, and then we create a map. See, we are using a function. There's a function called toMap. They are actually making sure that everything in there is we convert that to a map. Okay. And we say a map, A group is equal to EU East US, and another group is this. Yeah, thank you. Name and that. Okay. So each key and each dot key, each dot value. Okay. We will look at how we can create a VPC with a subnet with, but I'm just trying to explain here how to use the for each. But what we can do is we can go here. And use this, our boss, to then, as I said to you before, when I was learning, we didn't have this guy here. Okay. So, but now you have it. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell ChatGPT to show us a simple code block to use for each to create 3 subnets in a VPC. Okay. Okay. Use Terraform for E to create three subnets in a VPC. And show us the code snippet, and then we can explain it easy. Okay, so it's doing a lot. Hope that we can all explain. It's actually doing the outputs and it's giving us an explanation. Let's see what happened there. So there's a variable block, and in the variable, they create the map. Okay, they create the map in the variable. Okay, and they create the map object, and in the map, they've put the default. Is this the same as creating any variable? Subnet config variable, and the variable type is a map, and this is the default values. Yeah, and I should have shown you what a map is, but we'll look at maps after in detail. Okay, so a map will be taking one, and there will be values for that. So subnet 1, we have its values. So subnet 1 will have CIDR block is equal to this, and the availability zone will be that. Subnet 2, CIDR block is that, availability zone. So all of this is in the variable.tf. We create a variable, which is a map that has about 2 or 3, that whatever subnets you're going to create, information about the subnets, the IDs and stuff. In our code, what we've done is we have put the variables, the values in here, in the variable here. What we did is we didn't create a map. We created 2 variables, one for subnet 1, one for subnet 2. But in this one, what we're going to do is we're going to create 1 variable, and we have a map in there for each subnet. Okay. Now, how are we going to use it? So for the AWS subnet resource, we will then say for each, and the variable that we've just created at the top, for each item and this is where the loop comes in, for each item in this map, in this variable, which is item 1, item 2, item 3, for each of them, for each in this here, loop through it, and create at the first iteration, the VPC ID will be the same. We're not changing it. But the CIDR block will be the first item, the value, and the CIDR block. So the first item is subnet 1. Okay. And we want the CIDR block value. So at the loop, it will see this. This is the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. Yeah. And in this one, obviously, we've opened a bracket. So everything within it is equal to, belongs to this here. Yeah. We did the JSON. Remember when we did JSON? So exactly the same. Okay. So we're saying for each. So each, yeah. This is the first each. And the word each is a bit confusing. We want the value of the CIDR block. And then the availability zone that we also need will come from the AZ value. The tag is also going to be each key. So this is the key. This is the first key. So we'll call it subnet 3. And then here it's doing concatenating here. Remember concatenating. So it says subnet. It will target subnet, and then whatever the key is, this is the key, each key. So each key, and these are the values. This is also key pair. So key, and these are the values. Within that, that's a map. Within that, we also have this key pair as well. Yeah, it could be confusing. Anybody doesn't understand anything, please say it now.
When you say that for each in the code block that you're looking at, so does it know that it will iterate that after the first one of 10.0.30/24, the next one will be 10.0.4/24?
No, so you put the values here. So you say the first subnet, these are the values for the subnet. So all of this is each one.
Correct.
Yeah, all of this. And the key for each one is subnet 1. So for each is equal to this here, var.subnet config, and this is var.subnet config. Yeah, var.subnet config. And var.subnet config has a map. A map is a list. It's kind of a list. Okay. In this list, this is the beginning of the list, as you can see, and the end of the list is here somewhere. So this is, I think you see. Let me copy this and put it in, and then we will see colors. Let's explain it a bit more. So I'm just going to put it here. I'll delete it after. Yeah. Okay. Let me pull this down. Okay. So this is the variable. You know how we set the variables. We say variable and whatever is in it. And then we open brackets and close the bracket at the end. So this variable is exactly the same. Variable, we open brackets and close the bracket at the top here. But this variable is of type map. This variable was of type string. So we can actually also put description there. Every variable can have a description. So we can actually do this and put this description here. Okay. So it's the same as the variable, but this was a string variable.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, that I should have actually taught you about types of variables. One of them is string, the other one is a map. Yeah, this is a map variable. So I probably should have shown you maps. So go and look at maps. Yeah, I don't want to spend the time doing maps today. Go and look at maps. So this is a variable type map, and each type you need to set the type here. And this one is going to be, it's going to have a CIDR, which is going to be a string, and it's going to be, and they'll have an AZ, which is going to be a string as well. Then we're going to do the default like we did here. The default will be, what exactly do you want to put in the values, yeah, into this variable. Yeah, so we start with a default, but because it's a map starts with open brackets and closes a bracket. And then you put a list of maps in there, a list of, so 1, 2, 3. Yeah, each one will have one CIDR block value and AZ value. So we have subnet 1. We open bracket, close bracket, put the values there. Subnet 2, open bracket, close bracket, put the values there. Subnet 3, open bracket, then close bracket, put the values there. Yeah. So this is one item in this map. This is the second item in this map. And this is the third item in this map. So for each item, for each of them, 1, 2, 3. For each items in this map, for each element is what I should use. For each element in this map, we are going to loop through it. Element 1, no, actually 0, element 0, element 1, element 2. I'm not sure if Terraform does 1 or 2, but in programming, especially in Python, the first element is called 0, and then the next one is 1. Okay, so this is the last element, the second element, and the first element. Okay. So what we're trying to say is, when we're using it, if we come here, we say for each element in this variable, for each element in this variable. So this is where the loop starts. It will go in there into this variable, and if the variable is configured properly, it's going to loop through the default elements. Yeah, it will go and find elements in that variable. When you get there and you find the first one, VPC ID will stay static. This is static. It's always going to be the same for each. So vpc.main.id, the same way we've got our VPC here in our main.tf. See, the VPC ID stayed static because it's going to be the same VPC ID. When we copied the VPC block, we didn't change the VPC ID. We're using the same value for VPC ID. But for the CIDR block, go into the map and find it. And how do you do that? It goes to each, it says each. Yeah. One of them, the first one, we want the value of CIDR block. Yeah. So if you go to here, this is the first each. And the word each is confusing. And these are the values. But we want the CIDR block value. And then it goes back again. The next one, it will do it again, but it will come and pick this one. So it's creating 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same in our VPC, and we will see how it works. What you see the plan output. Okay. So if we go here, we go to the variables. I will remove the AZ because we don't need, we're going to use random AZs. We're not going to specify AZ in our VPC for now. Okay. And we will call this public subnet config. Underscore subnet config. We'll describe anything, and this one we will have one CIDR block. But our CIDR blocks are, we're not going to put default. And this is where we need to know if we're going to put default or not. So I think for here, because it's going to be a module, we will comment out this. What does it mean? It means that this map variable doesn't have any default values, so we need to, it's required. Remember when we did it yesterday, it's a required value. So when you call this module, it needs this information. Okay. So then what we will have to do is to go and create this variable, because with this one, I'm not going to work on how we can make sure that we pass the value directly from the main.tf. Okay, so remember when we are looking at it here, we didn't create any variable, we just passed it directly. We can do that, but that's another topic. Okay, we'll find a way to do that. If we didn't want to put any value here, what should we do when we're calling it? Okay, but for now, we're going to put it here. And we're going to set the default. Yeah. We're going to set the default is equal to this. No. Okay. So the default is that, but I think we will have to do the first one will be zero. No, let's make it 2.0. Second one will be 3.0. Third one will be 4.0. Yeah. Okay. And then we save this. And when we go to the main.tf, we need to then pass the variable here. And 1 minute, let me find out how this is called in the module quickly before I make any mistake. Boo, 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 boo. Thank you. Here we did count. Okay. All right. So I've gone and seeked help because I just want all of you to know that you need to know what you're doing, how to do it. You can seek help. Yeah. So I've gone and seeked help from my boss, and this is how it will work. Yeah. So as you see in this, this was correct. We actually didn't put the default in the module. Okay. And in here, we created the for each subnet, and we got a tag key. They did the outputs as well. And in the module, we created the variable. We put all the information in there. Yeah. And in here, what we did was, okay, subnet is equal to config. And that's it. Okay. Because the variable is called subnet configs, and it's needed in there. And that's it. Okay. I was actually on the right path. So I was actually on the right path. So this is the variable. We created it and called it this. Okay, so we call it that, public subnet. go to the main, and then we say it's equal to var dot public subnet. Yeah. These are parameters or variables or values that are needed from the module. So it is in the module, every variable that has been created that doesn't have values is there. So these are the parameters we are passing there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now comment out these two. It's not needed. In fact, this is the name of the name one is needed, and the VPC one is also needed. And we got a block for this. Okay, so we save that. So it needs 1, 2, 3. So when you're calling the variable, it needs 3. So this 2 is not needed. So we just need the name of the VPC, the CIDR block of the VPC, and the public subnet config. Okay. In our own variable, we have created this public subnet config variable, and it has this information. Yeah. So this is what is going to be passed to this here. It's going to be passed here. Yeah, as default. Any questions? Well,
Clear form.
it's clear. Okay. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Okay. So when we plan, we are saying that these values here, this map, the whole of this map, all of it should be passed to the module, which is here. We're saying pass this to the module for us. Take the values from our variable file and pass it to the module variable file that is called this. Okay. Also take this information and pass it to the variable that is also called this, and this is also the name. When we go there, we have a variable called public subnet config, and we've set it as a type of a map, and the map will have one value, one key pair value, which is going to be a string. We also have this, and it's also expecting that. Now let's do the for each in the subnet. Okay, so we didn't do the for each in the subnet. Okay, so now we need to add the for each block in the subnet. Okay. Exactly. So we're going to add for each in the subnet. Okay. So this is the subnet. So here we'll just call it public subnet. We'll not call it public subnet 1. It's just going to be public subnet. Okay. And then we'll see what we do here. Yeah. And then we're going to enter here and we say for this public subnet, use the public, where is it? Variable which is here. It's called public subnet config. I could type public, but I want to be sure the spellings are the same. That's why I always copy. So go loop through the whatever is in this variable. So for each means that go through each element and do a loop. Yeah. When you go, the ID will stay the same at the first iteration, keep it the same, but the CIDR block will be each, oh no, will be each element, the value, and the CIDR block. Okay. Take that value of the first, whichever iteration that you are on. I iterated the first one, go and get the value of the CIDR block and put it here. Okay. For the name, okay, we are going to call it, we're going to concatenate the name of the VPC plus dash the key of each element, okay. So this is where we probably will have to go and look at the key a bit more. Okay, so the key of each element. So if you go to the variable, what is the key of each element? The key is, we call it subnet 1, subnet 2, subnet 3. So that information will be here. What we'll do is we'll call this key public subnet 1. Underscore subnet 1. Copy. Public underscore subnet 2. Public underscore subnet 3. So that's the key. So these are the keys of the elements in here. So we say use this key name. We're saying, where is it? We're saying use the key name to tag the VPC for us. Okay. So therefore, we don't need this block at all, because we are going to now use this same block to create 3 subnets. If we want to create 4 subnets, who can tell me what we should do?
I think we would add another value in the variables.
Exactly. So now the number of subnets to create depends on here. Anything you put here will be created. That's it. If we remove 1, it will create 2. If we remove 2, it will create just 1. So next time, if your boss tells you get a Terraform project and your boss tells you, can you add 1 more public subnet? If you have a code like this, all you have to do is to just copy this, and this will create another subnet. Enter and paste it here. Obviously, you're going to make sure that it's public subnet 4, the key. Public subnet 4, and you change this to 5. And this will create a 4th subnet. That's all. And this is the beauty of this. It said delete 1 subnet. Which one? They said delete the 3rd subnet. We don't need it anymore. You comment out this. The Terraform will go and delete it. And let's practice it. We got like 5 minutes. I need to really go. So let's say we're creating 4 public subnets. Okay. So hopefully the configuration that we've done is enough for us to do this. Yeah. We're not doing any outputs for yet. And this is, everything is properly set. Let's see. Okay, Terraform plan. If it cries, we fix it. There's a lot of moving parts, isn't it? So you don't expect to get it at the first. Of course, it's going to cry. Public subnet to string. Okay. In the module, did I not comment out? It says, okay, let's go here. It says that public subnet -2 CIDR to string main.tf. Oh, we haven't saved something. We haven't saved.
This is in main.tf.
Yeah, because we haven't saved it. We haven't saved these. If you don't save the files,
all right,
it doesn't know the items that you've added. So this one hasn't been saved.
okay.
Yeah, we need to save it. Yeah, that's what's going on. Let's try again. Because the file is saved with the old config. Okay, now it's a different one. it says that Bernard public subnet 2 has not been declared in the module. So value AWS subnet Bernard subnet public subnet 2 ARN. Aha. So in the outputs, we have put information there that is not there, because all of these are not there. So we need to, let's comment out everything in the outputs. Yeah, we don't want to fix that now because I don't have time. I will let you go and do module outputs yourself. Voila. 4 subnets. So it says that it's going to create 5 items. Okay. One of them will be the VPC itself. Yeah. There is module VPC. Yeah. The next one will be the subnet. You see, public subnet 4 will be created. Public subnet 3 will be created, and public subnet 2, public subnet 1. Each time is using the values that we set in the CIDR block, which is 2, 3, 4. So let's apply this and see it in action in AWS. And this will be it. Joshua, let's go and sit in the car. We're going.
No,
And I would say yes. Okay, this is invalid. One of them, all of them are invalid. What was the CIDR blocks that we were using?
24. So it should be the block, the third octet that should be changing, not the second.
But okay. So when we did it last time, it was this worked. When we did it last time, it worked. You see, it's
the same 10.2. You can see the 2 are 10.2, 10.2. I would expect that the next 10.2.0,
okay, so 4 and 5.
The VPC one.
It's just the 4 and 4. Okay, 2, 4, and 5 are the ones that are invalid for some reason. 2, 4, and 5. The rest are okay. So we're creating 4, and it says 2, 4, and 5. Right. Let me ask quickly. This one is the third octet. Oh, you're right. Are we doing third octet or fourth octet? So this here was the third. Right, let's go. It's easy to fix. You go to variables and then just make it third octet. Then let's see. Two. 3.
And I think the second octet would be the same as the VPC, I think.
You can choose a different one, but I'm not going to be able to sit here and fix octets, to be fair. Let me ask. The ChatGPT give us information about this VPC. I think there's a VPC CIDR. You see, Terraform doesn't know a lot. All it knows is its own configuration. When it has to go to AWS to go and create the resource, then AWS will tell it, this is wrong. I'm not accepting these values. Okay, so subnet in a VPC. I've got it. Okay. It's meant to be so. Okay, 1 minute. I've got it here. So the VPC, where's this? The VPC is, oh, the VPC is actually
We turn the 3 and then you change it for 4.
Okay. I got it. Okay. So here is no 0. I get it.
Yeah.
3. Save. So this is the thing that we should all know, that most of the things happen in a variables file. If you need to change something, if you configure your Terraform properly, then everything is in the Terraform file, the variable file. Yes. And voila, it worked. Yeah. So if you go to AWS, go to VPC, you then see we're learning VPC, we're learning Terraform. You get me? We're learning AWS. So we created the VPC, which is VPC2, and this is the ID of the VPC. We can copy this ID, go to subnets, and then we search for every subnet that's associated to this vision. There's 4 public subnet, 1 VPC2 public subnet. In the way I tagged the name of the VPC and public subnet 1, subnet 2, subnet 3, subnet 4, and that's it. Yeah. If we want to remove one, it's easy. All we need to do is to go to this here and comment out this block, save it. Terraform applied will tell us that the code is completely different from the infrastructure that I have in my state, and this is where we learn state file. So Terraform will say that the code doesn't have this VPC there, so I'm going to remove it. But the 5th one, which is Terraform 4, which belongs to this, is no longer in the code, so I'm going to delete it. If you want me to delete it, I'll delete it. So go and delete this one, because the code is different. Yeah. Or did I say no? I said no. So delete it. So this confirms the state. It looks into a state and it looks at what is in AWS. It's like, do I still? Then I need to delete it because it's not in the code. It's gone. Yeah, it's deleted. And if you go to AWS subnets, you see that the 4th one will be gone. It's gone. Okay, let's end it here, guys. Next week we'll do more, but I'll upload this video with a description and everything, and then you have to just go and practice these. Seriously, it's all about practice. That will make you perfect. But today we looked at the for each loop, which it loops through a map. For each will loop through a map, and then you create a map. So we can also go and watch videos about Terraform maps on YouTube and understand what a map is, a map variable is, and how to use maps and stuff like that. And we can touch on it a little bit more next week. Thank you very much. Sorry that I have to drop. There will be a time that we can do more time, but today is not that time. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Please make sure you end the call. End the call. When you finish, don't just leave. End it. Christian Achina, leave this call before I go. Leave this call now. Christian Achina,
£100.
leave this. This is how you better.